everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 2 of Real Talk with Sadie. You can follow me on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube at Sadie in LA 96. Now, I have a very special guest with us, Asante Parker. Now, there's a huge movie out that just came out called Air, and it features Ben Affleck, Viola Davis, Matt Damon, Jason Bateman, and it's about Nike trying to recruit Michael Jordan. And I'm sure you know that story. And those names, those actors are pretty dang big. But there's one awesome actor that you may not know of. But get this, you're going to know him. He's going to be in big things. He's already doing big things. Asante Parker. So, is that right? Is it Asante Parker, or do you want to be called Deshon? Whatever.
Asante Deshon is what I go by, but my
Sure.
government is Asante Parker.
Okay.
So both are my name.
Okay. I just saw the name on the thing. I'm like, oh no.
No. You're fine. Yeah.
Okay.
On the credit and all of my other like previous on-screen and television work is just underneath Asante Deshon. So that way I can slight difference, but still the same. Yeah.
Okay, you heard it here first. Asante Deshon, I have the pleasure speaking with. Now, when I was watching the movie, I was so grateful to attend the premiere. And there's a cashier, I think it was a 7-Eleven, is that right?
7-Eleven, yeah.
And I don't know, something about your smile, the presence that you had, just charismatic. And I said, oh my gosh, I need to interview him. He just seems incredible. And here we are today. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How old are you? And when did you start acting?
Yeah, well, so I'm born and raised in Chicago,
Nice.
South Side to be exact. Shout out to all of those who are from Chicago.
Wow.
I run into a lot of Midwest people out here in LA, which is pretty cool. It feels like home away from home. But yeah, I was, born and raised there. I think roughly around 18, like roughly around 2000. I want to say 2015. I realized that I was like, okay, I kind of want to make that shift and come out to Los Angeles and see what that's about. But yeah, like I was growing up in every curricular activity that my parents can think of, including myself. Yeah, I think that the biggest thing was because it was not the best neighborhood, South Side of Chicago. They really wanted to make sure that I wasn't just going to be another another statistic out in the world. They just wanted to make sure that I had my head forward and making sure that I wasn't just caught into any type of everything, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So support a family group. They wanted you to. Are you talking about like gang related or drugs or kind of that community?
All of it.
All of it. I can imagine that.
Yeah. If you would have talked to my mom, she would have been like, my mom's so dramatic, but I love her. But she would have been like, oh, my baby. He could have been doing all of the drugs and all of the things at 13. But like, that's sad, but to say like that's very common in some areas. And yeah, so they really wanted to make sure that I found a passion, whatever that was, and use it as an outlet. So that way I wasn't bored and just like getting myself into trouble and, ending up in places I should never even, been in.
Wow. That's actually really emotional. We're getting deep already. Can you believe that? So, you know what? I bet there's so many young kids who need an outlet and they probably don't have it. So I hopefully you can be an inspiration to many people in your local community, and you can go back there and share your story and let them know that you have an opportunity to rise above the statistics and make a name for yourself. So proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So 18.
Yeah.
Did you were you in theater group in school?
Yeah. So during high school, like almost, so from the age of 5, that's when I could remember. I have pictures and everything. I've been doing every local school, you name it, type of production that you can think of.
Amazing.
all the way up till the end of high school. High school was a lot less, very far in between, because we didn't really have a great, theater arts. The budget wasn't there when it came to my high school, unfortunately. So I just had to make it work. I even went as far as to create like my own like after school program, so then that way we still be able to creatively outlet.
Oh, that's amazing, Asante, truly.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and then afterwards, when I turned 18, I was on my way to Northeastern Illinois University, where I was going to go for theater, actually. And then it was, it wasn't that far, but far enough where I could have technically just lived on campus, but thank God I didn't, because I avoid that student loan debt. I only last a semester. I only last one
Just a semester?
Yeah.
And wow. And what was the reason?
Yeah, I only, because I told my parents I was going for theater, and then they were like, okay, yeah, as long as you're going to school, and but then while I was there, I just realized like this was just not the route for me. Like, you just know, I feel like school is
and you're good.
Yeah, you just know, like, school is for a lot of people, and then school isn't for a lot of people,
And you don't have to necessarily go to school. So I went to college for 4 years, and I was a business major.
Nice.
And the career that thank you, but the career I am in today, I truly felt like I didn't necessarily need the education, but I get it's good for building connections and
absolutely
surrounding yourself with people and figuring out who you are, because I did learn a lot of things being independent from, staying at home. But you're absolutely right. So only a semester, and then you wanted to keep pursuing your theater or your acting, correct?
Right.
So what age were you when you moved to Los Angeles?
I was 20. Was I 20? I was 20. I was 20.
And how old are you
now? 27.
Wow, okay. That's
just
a good
turned
time.
27. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Happy
birthday just passed. That was amazing.
Yay. 90s babies.
I'm
27 too.
Hey, come on
Yeah,
now.
January. I know. Look at us go.
Right. Yeah, so I think ultimately what it boiled down to is just after a few days of just thinking it through, I just went to my parents and I just said, hey, let's do this. How about I give you a semester here? I finish out this semester, and then at least give me a semester to kind of like pursue what I'm trying to do. Right. That obviously went over a semester, because I had no idea what I was doing, and my mom and dad just like hounding me like, hey, it's been past that semester. When are you going to go back and finish? And I was like, I just got something here. I'm trying to figure it out.
You're figuring it out yourself. I got this, Mom.
Yeah.
You got
the real thing was, I was trying to understand the business of the acting. That was the hardest thing, because you could always create, but you're not making any money. And I think that's one thing that I wish college would have prepared you for. But I'm so glad I was able to go in the deep end to kind of like figure it out a lot sooner. Yeah. So I recently, I then got signed with my very first agency, and then they, super cool, really nice, like a nice boutique agency, but they ultimately believed in me and saw something in me based off of the work that I was doing when I, left school. And they were like, whoa, like, you've been keeping yourself busy, even though you wasn't, having representation and having work given to you. Essentially, they were like, yeah, I love that work ethic. Yeah, we would love to, represent you. And they said, we just want to warn you though, the likelihood of you booking, some don't even receive a booking like 4 years in.
So they're really transparent.
Very transparent. Love them. I love them to death.
Love that. That would make me actually a little apprehensive, and we're like, is this the right decision? Because I know, like, to have an agent is super important, right? To actually kind of make it in the film industry. I've been doing a lot of research. It's like one tip to take away is getting an agent. So
it does play a huge part. Yeah. Like, we could go for hours on that aspect, but I had no idea what an agency was. I just was recommended from a friend apply to them. And essentially that's how it worked out. And then like they said 4 years, I got my first gig. I booked a pilot 1 month in.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
You did that.
Did it.
Oh, that boosts your confidence. And I bet they felt great about it too.
They did. They were like, okay, good. They were like, all right, well, let's keep it going. Let's see what else we can do. And then I got an offer shortly after that for my first feature, which was called Teacher, starring. I know the director.
Where can we look that up? Or is it a TV show, Teacher, or is it a movie?
It's a movie, actually.
Okay.
Directed by Adam Dick, and it was an amazing experience. It's like a thriller, if you're into thriller.
Ooh, oh yeah, big time.
That was real cool. And then shortly after that, I ended up getting my SAG card, and then I was like, all right,
that's the real deal when you have the SAG.
Yeah, that's essentially like a diploma for an actor. Like
it really is.
Boom, your certification.
And how old were you when you got the agency and you got your role in that Teacher?
I was 20. Yeah.
Okay.
So
right. A month after you booked with the agent. I get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Was that your biggest role?
That was no, the biggest role was a pilot, but it didn't get seen. It didn't get sold. It it didn't go to any network. I think it was supposed to go to like at the time either Hulu or Amazon Prime, but it was really fun. It was super fun.
You got your feet wet though. That does
got
help.
My feet wet.
Experience
for sure. Yeah. And then I, moved to Los Angeles. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I didn't really know. I didn't have an expectation. I was just expecting greatness. Got my manager from that. Okay. And then she hopped on board. But here's the kicker. Here's the real kicker. When I moved out to Los Angeles, before I moved, I told my agents, I said, hey, can you pull some strings, see if you know somebody out there, just kind of
all about networking. It's
all about the networking.
Ugh.
They're like, yeah, we know this one manager. He's real cool. We could see if we could set up a meeting. That way you can get represented out there. I got out there. Halfway through, I heard this voice saying, if he doesn't sign you, will you go back? And I was like, no. But I hope he signs me. But if that's the case, I have to be okay with the decision that I made. And sure enough, when I got out there, he actually didn't want to sign me.
No kidding. Are you serious?
He didn't sign.
How was your mental health?
Because the thing, it was fine. It was really cool. It was actually really chill for the most part because my mom and dad were with me. They drove out there. We drove like literally 36 hours, nonstop, just rotating shifts because they were really banking on their son to, get some things happening out here in Los Angeles. And they believed in me. So, love them for that. Yeah. That's amazing. So when I turned to them after leaving the meeting, didn't get signed. And I came out and I said, yeah, he just didn't want me. And they were like, okay, so what are you going to do? And I was like, well, I got my bags here. So I got to set up shop. I can't leave. And then, a lot of things happened in between then, but ultimately I ended up getting signed with my manager, who then got me signed with my now agency. Oh, this is the best presentation I've ever had. I've been booking a few things, Chicago Fire, 911, some co-stars, some movies.
Fabulous.
And it has just really been paying off to the point where it's paying bills.
Everyone needs bills paid. Rent is due.
Right.
Things are expensive. Yeah. And Los Angeles is not a cheap place. I'm sure when you came out here.
Mortgage for rent. It's just crazy.
I know. So, that makes me so happy for you because I would have been really discouraged when you didn't get that first agency to sign you. But I think you had faith. Your family seems like they really helped build your confidence and keep you grounded and just keep you going. And so it all worked out. So tell me a little. It all worked out at the end. Oh, I'm so proud of you. So I went on. I think I found your IMDb. Did you do a Just Dance? Something? Is that you?
No.
Were you part of Just Dance? No.
Not that I know of. No.
Do you have IMDb so people can look you up?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have IMDb?
Yeah. I have one.
Okay, good. I have to look it up. Maybe because it was Deshon, I looked it up as Parker. Darn it. Well, never mind then. But no, you did some pretty awesome shows. So what inspired you to become an actor? I know you said when you're little, you always had this like in your blood essentially, but is there an actor or something that inspired you?
It was like a concoction of things, like, to be honest with you, Sadie. It was like
Lay it out. I would love to know because so many people in this industry have so many different influencers and people they look up to, and I would love to know. It could be even family members. It doesn't have to be some sort of limelight person.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I think my dad was a big like movie buff.
There you
Um,
go.
he had, like he had an entire like library of just only movies within our house in the basement
Oh,
of it. And so,
that's cool.
just rows, and we would watch movies from, sun up to sundown. And I
Oh,
just remember as a
fun.
kid learning different genres, learning like comedic timing, learning what, a rom-com is, learning just like certain things that I was just exposed at a very young age at like what that world was of entertainment, but I didn't know how to do it. Didn't even think it was achievable, but I just knew like I want to see if I can get my hand in that some way, shape, or form. And I think I have to give uh, a lot of thanks to my dad because he
Oh,
influenced that. Both of my parents are creatives as well.
great.
My dad is, he's really good he's a good pianist. He
Cool.
sings. My mom, she's like hilariously like funny, like she's like a comedian, but they never really pursued it full time.
Sure. Hmm.
Um, just to thrive and provide for me and my sister. But ultimately, I have to give most of it to my family, and then
That's amazing.
yeah,
Truly. Do you have a favorite movie
I
that your
do
dad
actually.
showed you? And did you watch one more than 10 times?
I have
There's some
my
movies I
favorite.
can keep watching.
I like watching movies that are like deep, usually somber. Like I like sad,
Oh,
sappy, not really romantic, but
sure.
it just has to resonate with whatever like I've been dealing with in my life. That with that storyline. My favorite
Yeah.
movie would have to be Artificial Intelligence. I don't know if you've seen it.
Artificial
Directed
intelligence.
by Steven Spielberg, starring Chris Rock, Meryl Streep, Emily, not Emily, her brother, um, Haley Osment. You know Emily
Oh,
Osment from
yes.
Atlanta?
Yes,
And
Emily Osment.
yeah,
Yes. She
So
stars in it. Very
her
cool.
brother was the main lead of that show. And
Artificial intelligence. I have to check that out. Thank you. I bet you have a plethora of movie recommendations. You're
oh,
gonna have to send me a list. Truly. I'm a movie
yeah,
goer.
yeah,
So that was your favorite. Oh, but you know what? I love that you mentioned your dad and it's not some huge limelight actor. And does he
yeah,
know that? Oh, he's gonna love to hear this podcast. Shout out to you, Dad.
yeah.
uh, so acting. Tell me about your very, very, very first role ever and how did that make you feel? And it can be big or small.
Yeah. Um, First role that I remember, like I said, was when I was 5 years old. I played like one of the three blind mice in a
That is
school.
awesome. Oh, I was Alice in Wonderland. The
Oh,
rabbit. I had buck teeth as a kid,
wait,
and
the
so they're
who?
like the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. I'm
Oh,
late.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
late
yeah.
on a very important date. Yeah. So we're
Mm-hmm.
both rodents. I love that
Look
for
at
us.
us, just like loading it up,
uh,
That's a good start. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I think I loved being everybody but myself. Um, in a sad but also interesting way at the time
sure.
because I was also bullied a lot growing up, and I kind of needed that
Sorry.
outlet to kind of like be somebody but myself, and I just enjoyed it. Like I had
That's
the time of my life, and
oh,
yeah, like my first professional job was when I had to have booked that pilot
mhm.
a while back. Um and I've booked pilots since then, but like this one was not. It was This one was different because this is all new to me. The lingo, what a gaffer was,
Sure.
all the other parts that make this thing work. I think
Mhm.
before I was just so headstrong and focused on what an actor does and not paying attention to any of the departments. And I respect them tremendously because they're usually there before we even step onto set. And then by the time we even get there at a 6 o'clock call time, we're going
Yeah.
straight to our trailer. to then be handed some breakfast. And we're not
Oh,
even
no.
out in the location, setting
Not at
up the
all.
shot and, you know,
Mhm.
doing all of that. So it really gave me a newfound respect for those other departments as well.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
how can I make their jobs easier? But yeah, like I was asking all of the questions. To this day, I was asking all of the questions. Like
Yeah.
there's so many things that I don't know if I don't want to rant, but like there's
No,
so
please.
many things to I guess to this experience that just is not taught. Like finding your camera, hitting your mark. These are like $1 million budgets like
Yeah, I was
that you're
gonna say.
going to onto set with. And if you're like going in and you're like messing up or you're not knowing your lines or hitting your marks, it's just making the day a lot
Uh-oh.
harder. And so you
You
gotta
have to be
like
ready for that. They don't teach you that in college. When you go to
they don't teach you that.
nothing. Yeah.
They teach you the character, they teach you the methods, they teach you how to, you know, live within that space and how to get there and get out, but they don't really teach you how to really work the camera. How
That
to
is so interesting.
One thing I learned too when I was on Fox 911, I remember giving it my all each take from the wide shot to my coverage.
Good for
And
you.
yeah, and how you just say?
I said good for you.
Yeah,
You're
well, I was gonna say it sounds
all
good
you
and
got.
great in a grand
Mhm.
scheme of things, but in this episode, my character particularly, he was hyperventilating. So each time I'm like
Whew.
overexerting myself, and no one is telling me, no one is teaching me how to preserve that energy for my coverage. I'm looking at my co-stars and I'm looking at the people I'm playing opposite of, these veteran actors, and as they're doing each other's coverage, as they're doing other people's coverage, they're preserving their energy. They're kind of like they're giving it their all. They just don't have to do
Not
too much
100%.
until it's on them. And I was thinking, whoa, like
Wow.
wow, like they're not burnt out, because by the time it got to me, I
You're
was burnt
hyper
out.
you're
I was
actually
going,
gonna hyperventilate because you
I'm
gave it all.
come on, you know what I'm saying? That's some things that I wish I learned, but I've learned that being on the set. I said, oh, Asante, you could just wait, you know, to your coverage. So then that way
Yeah.
you can give it more energy. Because by the time the cover, you know,
Yeah.
it gets to you, you're already burnt out, you know,
Behind the scenes,
you're
I
wheezing and
am
croaked over. Yeah.
oh, this is so fascinating. This is exactly why I wanted to start this podcast to learn more about behind the scenes. It's not just reading a script and then you're off to the races. There's so many little things that you have
Oh
to
yeah.
learn. I used to do some production assistant work, and even I got things wrong, and I have to pay attention to the marks. And I also did, I think it was just like note taking, like per
Yeah.
scene, and then I would have to write the notes on what didn't do well in that take. And it
Yeah.
was just really complicated. So for you, what else is something that you had to learn that's not really talked about? Learning your mark. How
Yeah.
about the timing of, not the timing of it all, but yeah, I guess like the timing of when to really deliver yourself for
Yeah.
all part.
I think that was one of the biggest things for me, because like again, like, you know, I grew up in theater, and I know a lot of theater actors could attest to this. Like, you know, they want to give it their all. And it's not to say that you don't have to give it your all. You
Right.
need to know how to adjust in this medium, you know, when it comes to
Mhm.
film. And I definitely feel like it's not necessarily one is harder than the other per se, because they all have
Sure.
their own challenges. I
Right.
think it's more so about, yeah, like I said, like, you know, adapting and figuring it out, because there's a lot of differences, but there are also a
Sure.
lot of similarities. One thing I could even say too, like I had a conversation recently when they were saying, we were talking about this topic, and you know, this may get me in hot water, but they were saying, like, you know, how theater is just like so much more intense, and you know, film actors, you know, they have it easy. And I was like, let me tell you something.
Whoa.
Whoa. You know, there, like, you know, there are a number of things that are extremely hard within theater. And you know, and then once you get that ball rolling, it's like, you know, copy paste, and like you just got to stay into that, because it's like muscle at this point. When you're
Right.
like, if you're putting up a show for theater, you're going onto the set, I mean, you're going onto the stage,
Yeah.
and by this point, by the opening night, you've already practiced it for at least
Like
for
100 times.
for
A
a
lot
hundred
of
times,
times.
you know?
Hundreds of times. Right.
But the thing is, when you step onto set, what they don't tell you is, if you're shooting a scene out of sequence, and you find out that your mother dies, and they just made that, quick adjustment, and they
Wow.
shot it out of sequence. That's the first shot of the day, but you never even met this actress. Now you have to
Right.
not only get emotionally connected to the woman
I
you've
was
never
gonna
met.
say.
Now you got to go ahead and cry over her and
And your
see her
mindset.
dead body. And so it's like,
Oh,
with theater, you get that luxury of from beginning to
it's like a
end. You get that
fixed.
origin.
Yes.
Whereas, yeah, when you get to film, you go, so okay, so we're gonna shoot. Okay, mother died here. We're gonna shoot that one here, and now you got to step into that quickly,
Ooh.
and then you end it with, like a happy thing or something that may not even be in correlation to how you even did it. It's just it has its own struggles, and they agreed, and I was just like, guys, like both
Whoa.
are hard. Both can be
Both
very
are
hard.
hard. And you want to
Yeah.
have a sense of community just because theater is so different than film. Hopefully you guys can all connect and have similarities. But that is interesting. Out
Yeah.
of sequence. That would actually really confuse me. I don't know how you do it. I don't think I want to become an actor now.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare for a role? So does your agent usually find a role for you? How does that work? I'm so fascinated with like the agency role. Do they find a role for you? You get the script, and if it speaks to you, are you gonna audition? Or anything that comes your way, are you gonna just apply just to get your feet wet?
Yeah. So both my manager and my agents, even my commercial agents, everyone would send an audition my way that they submitted me for, that they thought I was awesome for. And I think, God, man, I just remember being like, I don't know, thug number one for the longest, or being like, and then there are no small parts, they say, just small actors. But man, it feels so great to be at a point, I guess, in my career, and I'm excited for the future even more to have more meat for the roles that I've been given. I'm realizing now.
Yes.
Yeah, what a blessing that is. So yeah. They were sending my way, and they said, "Hey, what do you think about this? Can you confirm?" Usually my manager replies. She'll see it a lot sooner than I see it, and then she would give me a call and say, "Hey, so and so for this project with this director, what do you think about it? Did you read it?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I read it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's confirm that." And then I go about, usually reading it a few times, trying not to be the character. I just try to read it. Just try to read it.
Interesting. That was my next question too, because you read the script, you don't want to try to be the actor, but is it like inner intuition and kind of off your gut?
Oh yeah, I struggle with it all the time. The moment I
would get imposter syndrome a little bit.
I struggle with it all the time, because sometimes I'll read it and I find myself trying to create a character while simultaneously reading it, and I was like, wow, hold on, wait, let's just read it. But then if that's usually a good thing, because if I'm able to like naturally fit it in like a glove of how this character will probably sound like, I think that's a good thing, that I could envision myself being that character.
Wow.
And so, but there are also some times that it's just a lot harder. I have to find it a little later, but for the most part, I read it a couple of times, and then I go in and be like, okay, all right, let's get the meat. Let's get the bones. Let's get the bones. Like, let's get off book. Let me memorize these lines as soon as possible, so that way I can play. So if I know what the character is saying, if I know how he's saying it in the cadence of that all, then I could, not literally, but throw it away. I could throw that aspect away, because now I already have I already have his voice, essentially.
True.
Now I could play around and, make certain movements, make certain decisions, make certain choices that may be, different from the next person that is auditioning for the same role or similar roles. I think it's
fascinating.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, we're still on the pandemic a little bit. I know a couple people who are still sick from it, but during the COVID time, were a lot of your auditions just over Zoom? And how is that different from in-person auditions? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah.
I feel like over camera, or what is it called? Screen recording? I forgot. What is it when you just do on a self-tape?
Self-tape. Yeah. Self-tapes. Yeah. I will say, man, I personally liked both, but I think it could be, I think it's a blessing in disguise, especially for me at least, because during before COVID, you know, ripping and running, making each audition. I'm getting like 4 auditions a week, 4 to 5 auditions a week.
Wow.
And just imagine you having to attend physically into every single one. While
Can
also,
seems exhausting.
it's exhausting. You're using
And the gas
gas.
bill.
You're probably receiving at least 2 tickets a week.
Yep.
You know, you forgot to pay that meter.
It's LA. Oh,
You're
I
trying
can
to
imagine.
You know what I'm saying? You're trying to survive off of a job that, you know, may be mad that this is your 4th call out or you left too early, whatever that may be.
Right.
Yeah, like there are like a numerous amount of things, but right around the time when I got to Los Angeles, but again, before the pandemic, I was dealing with that. But then shortly after, when the pandemic hit, they were relying more on the self-tapes, but I was already doing a mixture of both, so I learned to master what that looked like, and I have fun because you gotta have fun. Like you control every element.
I was gonna say,
background. I would pump myself up to music every time before I even, you know, play. It could be a sad song. Like it could be. I mean, it could be. The scene could be a sad song, but I'm pumping myself up because I feel like I just need that hype, and then as soon as I stop it, then I'm hitting it.
Brilliant.
You know, getting into that moment. But I enjoy both that personal connection that you have with the casting directors. And,
in person. And
I miss that in person, you know. Of course. But you know, self-tapes is fine too.
Yeah.
I don't sound too excited.
No, can you do as many takes as you want?
You can do as many takes as you want.
You can submit the one that you think is the best. Is that how it works?
Yeah, typically you send in 1 or 2, depending on what they're asking for. Sometimes they say, hey, we would love to see 2 takes, 2 or 3. I don't try to do more than, I only submit 1. I don't send 2 takes unless they want it specifically. But typically I do 1 and done. I've noticed the less I overdo it, the more I've booked. Air being one of them. Not trying to jump the gun on how.
No, you're good.
I was like, I have to have fun with this because they would know if you've beat this horse dead trying to make every little thing perfect. And I was like, no, like this is a real person. He's not a robot. I'm rolling. Let's hit it. If I feel good about it, I'm done. Typically, if I do a second
love that.
Yeah.
You're confident. That just shows confidence. You have such a great demeanor. You're awesome. So you're confident. No, truly. 1 and done, and you go with your gut. You know if it's authentic or not, and you'll hope for the best, right?
Yeah, no, that's all you can do. Yeah.
Wow. So have you handled, or do you ever face criticism or rejections? Because I think, how do you handle the criticism if you don't get a part? Do you just move on? Like no means next opportunity, in my opinion. It doesn't mean no. Just maybe you weren't right for the role, or do you take it personally?
In the beginning, I took it personal.
Yeah.
And I remember some people saying, you're going to get so many auditions, like it'll become, either you become really jaded or it could become like, you know, second nature to kind of like not take it as personal. And I would think, what? And especially and this is the thing, especially for like really new actors, like just not getting an agent, first agency, first credit, I'm talking that, they may typically not be receiving the amount of auditions that I'm receiving. Like, which is like, they may be getting like 1 or 2, you know, a month versus out here in Los Angeles specifically, depending on the market too. Like there's a lot of variables that go into this. But I remember when I was first starting off, 1 or 2 a month. So you really like, I need to get this book and I need to get it. And it just became desperate. It like, you know, it just became like this. Can you
That's funny to me.
I'm sweating. I do anything. What do you want? I'm on my knees. Like, and because you don't get a lot of auditions at that time versus now I could look back and be like, whoa, Asante, chill. You know, they're going to come. Don't be desperate. They could sense that. Now that you're getting so many, like, you know, 12 a month, I'm kind of like,
wow.
It kind of like allowed me to loosen up a bit more. Okay, I didn't get that one, I can get this one. Oh, I didn't get that one, I'm gonna get that one.
Perfect.
Like, that's kind of like a cool way.
That's a good mindset to have.
Yeah, it's coming from a certain level of privilege I am aware of, but those who are starting out too, I would definitely recommend to just calm down, relax, because the whole desperation thing is not cool on camera. It definitely is.
And it can come, you can see it.
You can see it.
Directors.
Yeah, you can see it. I had you asked me if there was ever a moment when I took. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just thinking like at the end of your self tape or audition, you just give them a little like, help me, help me. Oh, what?
You
You
know what
need
I'm saying?
me. Do you ever just forgot to edit that part out? No.
There's been some cases. I remember one of them. One of my friends. I don't want to put her on blast, but she was like, "By the way, I do this, I do that." Now the scene was done, but then she added that little
She's
bit.
trying to hype herself up. Oh no.
Yeah, she hyped herself up. Then she got a note from her team saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, yeah, don't ever do that again."
Just straight to the script. Do your
Straight to the
audition and you're
script.
done. No.
I love to see your personality, but it's just
Sure.
kind of like, let's not try to pitch yourself. That's what your team
Okay.
is for. Yeah.
Well,
But you asked me, I'm sorry, you asked me if I was ever like, if I took a personal. There was one audition for this network, and I was so excited. I've never been brought into this office. I just knew it. Let me tell you something. Sadie, I knew it. This was mine. Like I got this in the bag. And I walk into it, go into the gate, put my, park my car, go into the, the studio. I'm ready to audition for this.
You're confident. Your confidence is way up here. Is it too high?
It may be a little bit too high. You know what I'm saying? And then she goes, okay, yeah, whenever you're ready. I stepped in front of the blue screen, set the camera. They go, whenever you're ready. And I go, okay. And action. Didn't remember my line.
Whoo, the wall. Is it called the wall? Oh God. I'm getting secondhand embarrassed. I'm literally getting clammy. No.
What do you mean
happened?
by the wall?
What happened?
Oh,
You just
like
blanked?
I just blanked. I literally was like, I'm sorry, can we take that back? And they said, yeah, sure, no problem, right? And then, and action. Say the line, fumble. I go, woo, okay. Sorry guys, can we take that back one more time? Listen, I knew in that moment. And that second time, I was like, this is a wrap, I think it was just horrible. I think I was just overwhelmed for whatever reason. And I put it up so high that I couldn't achieve it. I made it this grandiose thing. I made it like I idolized it in a way. And I should have never put it at that shelf. I should have just said, this is a normal audition. They want to see how I bring this character to life. Have fun.
Be yourself.
Just be myself. Yeah, I was a little down. My manager even said, so how was it? And I was like, it was great.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm finishing my next semester. No.
Right.
But you know what? Look at you. You're still here. And you're not the only one in this industry who's done that. I bet there's so many people who've experienced that. So did it make you stronger?
Definitely made me stronger. Definitely, I told myself, I'm never doing that again.
Oh, never again. So then let's segue into the Air movie. That is such a great movie. I've seen it twice. Now, how did you get this role?
Yeah. It came in through my team, through my agents and manager. At the time, it was titled Air Jordan. It was titled Air Jordan, right? Okay. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't really know what it was. I was like, oh, they're making a movie about Michael Jordan, like everybody thought, I was like, oh, they're making a movie about Michael Jordan, and I kind of like skimmed through it, but not enough to kind of like get the gist of what's really going on. And so then I was like, oh, dope. And then I was like, all right, well, let's just put it up on tape. Shortly after, I had one of my friends. He filmed it for me, and I, got off book pretty quickly. I'm gonna be honest, Sadie. It was just like a normal audition, like nothing different, nothing extra. I will say this: I didn't know who all was attached. I was
gonna say the cast. You didn't see the big names, really.
I knew Matt Damon and I knew Ben Affleck, and that was it. So it went from Air Jordan, and then I think I got maybe a month or two later. My team got an email, and then it said new model, and then I thought this is a whole nother production. And say, hey, we want to know your availability, Asante's availability. And I go, oh, new model. I was like, wait, I don't remember auditioning for a new model. And then I was like, oh, did I? And then I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, no, that's the Jordan movie. And I was like,
Great.
oh, yes.
I'm ready.
Okay,
Let's
that's
do
good.
it.
You know?
Yes.
And then got the availability. And I said, of course, I'm down for it. And then next thing you know, I booked it. Yeah.
Amazing. So did you read the script and you're like, that this speaks to me? Or you're ready to go?
I don't even think I read, if they sent the script, I don't think I don't think they sent the script. But if they did, I don't know if I've seen it in enough time to actually fully read it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I probably would have made different choices. I probably would have, like, because the character that I played, even though he was a 7-Eleven clerk, I believe he originally was supposed to not be helpful. He was supposed to be like this, I don't know if I can say smart ass. I don't know. He was supposed to be like this, like smart ass, like wise ass to Sonny's character. He wasn't really helpful. It just said clerk, grocery store clerk, not the most helpful. And I remember playing it so dry, like super dry. Like totally, what you see on screen is not what at all. That was completely different.
I fell in love with your character, and it was just a small little bit, but you're just so friendly and attentive, and you spoke a lot. All of your scenes were with Matt Damon, right?
Yeah, 2 scenes with Matt Damon, and yeah, and I just remember like, okay, well, he's not helpful, but he does have a job here. He's not fired for a reason, so I'm gonna still do my job just at a bare minimum. And I had fun with it, and I just had like a little comedic flair of dry humor, and yeah, I think they love it, obviously. And
Perfect.
but
The
then
personality did probably shine through, and like, actually, let's make him nice. I bet it was your audition that made it nice.
probably, yeah, because then they made some rewrites, and then my character was actually, dropping the knowledge, giving some information, about, who I thought were the next best, or my thoughts on, a few things. And Sonny's, his character was like, not really fishing for information, but it played a part into his next move within the next scene to kind of like, root for the underdog and kind of like see something within Michael that he could, could be beneficial for both of them. Yeah.
Yes. And this is a big set or production, right? How did you feel? Was this intimidating for you? Were you a little nervous? Like, you're in with the big leagues. Are you
Again,
okay?
I had no idea who was involved. So
Up until like shooting?
the entire time.
You're kidding me.
I am so serious. The entire time I was
like, hush, hush.
in my trailer, just trying to understand the new lines that were given to me, right? Because they had to rewrite. So my main thing was
you're saying. Things switch all the time. You're not kidding.
Like, they changed it the night before. Ben was super awesome. Everybody was awesome. Matt was super awesome. He goes, yeah, hey, sorry about the last minute, script adjustments, but I know you got this, etc.
Right. Of course.
I get into the trailer, and I'm like, oh, okay. A little bit more added, a lot more basketball lingo. Fun fact, I suck at basketball. Let me just
I was gonna ask you, and do you like Jordans?
I love Jordans. I love Jordans. Favorite number would have to be the 13s. Favorite pair. I love those. Yeah. But yeah, I had no idea who was attached, and I think it was ultimately God protecting me from that, because had I known,
had you known? Sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, like, your previous one where you botched your audition because you were so hyped up. Yeah, this could have been a flop. No.
This could have been. Listen, you never know, because this budget was this wasn't the first time that I've been on like a big budget, like millions of dollars invested. But I think knowing who I was playing opposite of and who were all involved could have easily overwhelmed me. But I think it didn't, because I really feel like, and I don't know where everybody stands, not to get like too deep or anything. I think it was, for me, I think God was protecting me from not knowing every part of this, because I every now and then I had suffered from anxiety, and so I tend to like put myself in these weird headspaces and, and have this, imposter syndrome. Like everybody's subject to that every now and then. And so I really just wanted to do this movie and my role and this entire project justice. And so I literally just kept my head down, learning these rewrites, understanding what am I saying? What is this basketball lingo? Cool. Got it. Oh, okay. Gonzaga. Oh, okay. All right. He's there. All right. Cool. Like I'm trying to understand all of that and just, have fun ultimately. So that way I'm not showing up and not knowing my lines. Yeah.
You did it. Oh, everyone needs to go watch Air. You did a phenomenal job. And so when they said act, do you remember the very first take? Action, how did you feel? Oh, I just am trying to live your moment, truly.
Sadie, you are the first to hear this. When they said action, to be honest with you, I did flub the lines. And it was because I wasn't nervous. I was more so, there was so many things happening and I just really wanted to make sure whatever I was saying was correct. And I remember Matt leaning in and he goes, let me just tell you something. You got this. We are all here until this thing gets done. No rush. We will be here all day. Now, mind you, I know we ain't gonna be here all day. Like nobody really wants to be here all day. But hearing that, somebody at his level within his career in his field, Oscar winning performance. I have Batman directing me. Literally.
You literally do.
Amazing people telling me like, you got this. Like trusting yourself. We got this. We here all day. We trust that we hired you for a reason. And I just remember just thinking, wow, like, okay, yeah, for sure. We hit it. This is before I went back to my trailer. After we came back, we did it. And we were hitting some,
nailed it.
We were making some good takes. And I just remember Matt going, yeah, I feel
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then after we wrapped with that scene, Ben came over. He goes, how do you feel with improv? And I was like, how do I feel with improv with with Matt Damon? Dream. Well, it's a dream to improv one, and then to with Matt, let's
even
do it.
Better.
But I thought they were going to do it as an extension for the current scene. That they were like, oh no, we're doing an extra scene, so they added another scene that wasn't even in the script. Yeah, and
that is cool. That shows your talent. That shows your talent and what can you bring to the show?
Yeah. I think that was like so awesome. Yeah. And we go back, wardrobe change, different setting, different day. That's the scene that you saw, not trying to do any spoilers, that you saw in the last scene before the ending of the movie. And it was truly a blessing. Like I had so much fun to just play, to just have fun being opposite of these wonderful people, these A-list actors, and be directed by them, and such an amazing casting. Yeah.
Amazing. What a blessing for you. And I'm so proud of you. And to hear that coming from Matt, that's really nice because I interviewed a woman named Anna Rice last week. She was on The Last of Us, and it was a huge, she played one of the nurses at the end. I don't know if you watched the series, but
for sure.
It's really great.
I haven't finished it purposefully because I gotta wait till the next season come out.
Okay, do that. So she was telling me about going on these big sets. It really is about the directors and just the environment to make it feel comfortable for you. So do you think that Matt was just comforting and the whole set was inviting? Because you might get people that are more hostile and then it might not set you up for good acting. What do you think about that?
I agree. I will say that, when I step into characters, and if I see somebody playing opposite of me, just all in their head, like they're just in their head about it. They're just on autopilot and not in a good way. They overthinking or overanalyzing some of the decisions they're making or choices. I try to kind of like talk them down from that, but for me to be on the opposite side, and then I'm not even assuming like that. First of all, that wasn't an option for me. I said, you are not going to be in your head for this. This is,
Absolutely not.
Let alone, you know what I'm saying? I was like, no, we don't have time to be in our heads. We got to go in and do the job, show up, and have fun, and hopefully, something great can come from it. But when he did that, it gave me a level of insurance. It allowed me to realize, like, even people at his caliber, people at his level, even Ben, to be able to like reassure me. Like, I think this is a pretty small team. It was a very tight knit team and
intimate. I can imagine.
Very intimate, and it was like family. And here I am coming in. I think I was the last scenes before they wrapped the entire production.
Wow.
And so,
they're all close. Exactly. So you coming in a new face. Time's ticking. We have all night, but we don't really have all night. Let's get this done.
You know what I'm saying? And when he said that, it just meant so much. Like, I'm gonna be really honest, it meant a lot. Because I can tell it was genuine. I could tell that he knew that I was there for a reason. I could tell that he knew that I was able and capable of having fun in this scene, giving him what he needs, giving me what I need. And he just said, listen, we are all day.
I love
it's just me and you. And I was like, okay, let's go, Matt. Like, this is crazy. And then, and I get in the car, and then I was like, wait, let me see who else is involved. And then you see Viola Davis. I know. Jason Bateman. I go, oh my God.
Wow. You should do a movie with Chris Tucker. Is that his name? Or Chris Tucker? Yeah, amazing. He's an OG. I love Chris Tucker ever since I was a kid.
Funny. Yeah, I loved him, especially in Rush Hour for sure.
And thank you so much about the Air movies. I'm going to do a little bit more just like fast round questions. Are you down for some quick personal questions?
I'm down.
It's going to be like speed race. I just want to know personal little fun things. Okay, favorite food?
I'm plant-based, mac and cheese. But if it's done well with some cashew cheese.
Give me a recipe. I love that. I'm pescatarian right now, so just doing a lot of like salmon and shrimp. So yeah.
Hey, nice.
Okay. What is your favorite movie? Is it Artificial Intelligence, or do you have another one?
Yeah, you know this.
Okay, Artificial Intelligence. What is your favorite song?
Janae Aiko and Kendrick Lamar, Stay Ready.
Ooh, okay, that is a good one. What is your favorite hobby outside of acting?
This is gonna sound very corny. I'm outside of acting. I love acting so much, but I've gotten to a point when I realized you got to do a little bit more than that. I would have to say possibly. I gotta figure that out. I do a lot of other things. I just I don't know, because I find love, even if it's not acting, it's some form of creating. Like if I'm editing or if I'm producing other stuff, that's I guess you could say that would be a hobby. But I love that.
I like that for you. Hey, there's so many. I love to cook. Can you cook?
No, but I'm learning.
Okay.
I'm horrible at cooking. I'm gonna give myself some grace. I'm getting better. I think before I was at like a 2.5. Now I'm at a good solid 5.3.
Okay. I'll give you some plant-based recipes. My friend has a really good cauliflower mac and cheese. Cauliflower. It is so good and it's so easy. Okay. I'm gonna give you the recipe. I'll text you afterwards.
No, for sure.
Okay, a little bit more personal, and then we can call it. What is the best advice you've received from someone? And it can be acting, or it can just be a advice about life. Best advice.
I don't know who said this, but I would have to say the sooner you know who you are, the less likely as soon as you know who you are, like get to know who you are as soon as possible, because in the moment when you know who you are, the world doesn't get to tell you.
I love that.
Yeah. And you can just literally, like I
Be
think that applies to
yourself.
anything. I think because then you
Sure, it
create
does.
boundaries for yourself. You know what you would and what you wouldn't do. You know what you stand for and what you don't stand for. And I
Right.
think in any area of life, whether that be relationship, whether that be acting, career goals, when you know yourself, like you wouldn't be able to fall privy to things that just doesn't align to what you represent.
Right. I
Yeah.
love that. Now, what is something that makes you happy and feel fulfilled in life?
Oh man, family.
Family.
Seeing my family.
Yeah.
I think at the end of
I
the
can
day, that
tell
back in
from the
Chicago,
beginning. Yeah, your family.
family is like, man. If I could, I think there's gonna be a point when I'll be filming in Chicago pretty soon. So I'm excited for that.
Mhm.
But I would love to see family like 24 hours. I'm a family guy, but you know, me being out here in Los Angeles, it's just me and my LA family, which is still great. You
Right.
know, yeah. But
Fabulous.
that brings me
It's
happy.
hard. My family's only 3 hours away, and I'm, like, longing for them all the time.
I didn't
So
even
for
ask.
you,
Where are you from?
yeah, I'm from up north. It's a small town called San Luis Obispo. It's Central
Oh,
Coast. It's beautiful. Have you ever been up north, Morro Bay? That's where I'm originally from.
I think I've
Morro
been
Bay. Yeah.
Morrow Bay. I
Yeah, it's
think I've
about
had
an hour and a half north of Santa Barbara. You should check it out. But yeah, thanks
okay.
for asking. I
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm. All families there. But for you to have, well, California to Chicago, that's a heck of a distance. You just get
Yeah.
there every day. Do you with your parents every day or
All the time.
FaceTime
To the
them?
point where I'm convinced I annoy them sometimes. Usually it's the other way around.
Aw.
Yeah, I call my mom and she's like sleep and I go, "What we
Nice.
doing? What we
Are you a
made for dinner?"
mama's boy or a
I'm a
daddy's
mama's
boy?
boy. I
Mama's.
mama's boy for sure, but like I bother both of them equally.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my sister, she just had a baby, so I'm excited to meet my
Oh,
niece. I
congrats, your
haven't met my niece
uncle.
yet.
Uncle Asante,
Yeah,
Uncle Deshon. Oh.
yeah. So I'm
Oh, you're
excited.
the best uncle. I can just imagine the love that you give.
Yeah, it's a huge thing, and I was blessed to be able to. I don't know. I booked a project recently that I was able to like give a lot more than I normally would have gave. It's you
Uh-huh.
know, and be a blessing to my niece and my sister financially in ways that I just never would have thought. So
What a
that was
blessing.
yeah.
Ah, fabulous. Now, do you have any upcoming projects you can talk about? I'm
Can talk about. Um, yes. I do have one, and I really think you guys should check it out, including you, Sadie. It's
Okay.
a project that I actually produced for myself actually.
No
Um,
way.
it's an audio series, and it's not a podcast. Don't think
Okay.
podcast.
Okay.
Think don't even think audio book. So think of your favorite TV show, but just only
Okay.
audio. So instead of you hearing a narrator saying he walks into the room and he quickly ducks as
Yeah.
the
All those
explosion happens.
adjectives. Mm-hmm.
What you experience is in first person. You will hear me breathing heavy. You will hear me hiding. You will hear the explosion. You will hear the dialogue. You will hear the
Ooh.
other characters. You will hear
Immersive in a way. Oh, I
the
would fall
immersive
asleep to that.
experience. It's on
That is so
Spotify.
cool.
It's called Asante, the audio series. That is my baby. So I guess that could
Oh
be
my
my hobby.
gosh.
But I know it's tied into the acting thing, but I love it so much. I have to find other areas that is outside of
Sure.
that. Yeah.
That
So
is
it's
so cool. I will
yeah. I could even
definitely.
send you a link. You know, for those who want to take a
Yes,
listen. I highly
I will
recommend
absolutely
it.
put it in the link so
Me and
everyone
the
can
rest of
do
my
that.
team, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Do you want to direct one day a huge film? So you're also creative, not just acting, but
Yeah.
creative mind to do other things in
Yeah.
that film. Oh, you're gonna do big things. I
Yeah.
am so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank
Now, one last thing. Can you just give a piece of advice for any new actors? I know you mentioned that one advice about figuring out yourself younger, but is there anything that you would love to just share with any new actors coming into this realm?
you. There's a lot that I could say. I think to really put it plainly, and hopefully, you know, they could take this and they'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna still do it this way. I really
Mhm.
noticed from a lot of my peers that are successful. I'm talking like, if I name them, like you would be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that they went through that, or I didn't know that they at that level. I think what I've noticed is don't neglect the business side. The moment you understand that becoming an actor is also a business as well, you are a brand, the sooner you would be able to navigate a bit differently. I'm not saying that you have to be the most business savvy type of person, because those are what you hire a team for. But the moment you can articulate what a rate would look like, or what scale is, or what you should be getting paid, or what they did. Oh, they got, the headshot based off of a type that, that they see themselves as, that their team see themselves as, rather than what they're trying to force to happen. The moment you start to realize a lot more business things, it starts to just mend a lot quicker. I mean that.
That makes total sense too. It kind of goes back to when you were saying not just reading the script, but knowing your mark, like a little bit more behind the scenes, digging a little further into your career. And I guess that gives you the confidence, and you don't get taken advantage of. Maybe I feel like this industry, you can get taken advantage of, and if you don't know how much, wow, that's really good advice. Truly.
I don't want to hold you. I don't know, because I know we're crunched for time. I was just going to add. I think I would say find an actor or an actress, or somebody's career that you aspire to kind of sort of loosely have. It won't be identical, obviously. And then follow the blueprint, because it's already out there. It's literally already out there. And then see what you can control in that aspect, and surrender to the things that you can't, and just fill it in. I think that's what I would have to say for sure.
Well, you heard it here first from Asante Deshon. I can't wait to see you in other things. I am so proud of you, and let's keep the journey going. And absolutely. I'm so happy for people to get to know who you are, and I'd love to have you on again, hopefully soon. So thank you so much. And if you have Instagram that anyone can follow you, I'm sure people would love to follow you after this.
At Asante Deshon, my name, where you could see a few things that I post, in the projects that I'm working on, as it's, released and stuff of that nature. You will see that first there. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining. So grateful for you.
Sadie. Thank you for having me.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.